once again, today, a ship has been hit by the Islamic Republic of Iran.
Oh my god.
Not looking so good. Let's check out the Brent oil prices, actually. Um, okay, so we actually have jumped up to $81 per barrel of Brent oil. Makes sense. Hostilities have officially begun. Donald Trump has notified Congress that he is going back to strikes, notified them apparently 5 days ago when this all started, but he called them limited defensive strikes. And this ship getting hit is definitely not helping at all. So they were hit on the starboard side, so it looks like they were entering um, the Strait of Hormuz, but they're still a way off. I mean, this is a little strange for them to get hit. It is directly off of Chabahar here, though, so I mean that might be something there. It's a little unusual for them to be hit that far out. So the bombardments are, I think, right now subsiding. So I have a chance to show you guys a video of what the bombardments have been looking like. So someone managed to film this with their phone. I'll show you guys that real quick. This is either Sirik or uh, Shonarak, I believe. Some people are posting about either these two locations, but this is from tonight. Let's take a look. There we go. Actually going back to that video of the airport, that reporter who was reporting there almost got hit by a chunk of rock. And that is largely why you don't stand so close to explosions. So please, if you hear anything in your lifetime, just get under cover. Getting hit by a piece of flying rock will kill you the same as a nuclear bomb. So it doesn't really make a difference. We have some more images here of the blasts tonight. You can see in the distance, it's a pretty large fireball. People are reporting that even in Sirik, there was like 25 explosions in a matter of seconds. We also have Quiche Island here, and this is what Quiche Island looks like at the moment. Looks like some of the ports got struck, maybe some of the boats there. That's all we know of so far. The ballistic missiles that were launched from the IRGC don't seem to have been fired at the Persian Gulf Arab countries. They seem to have been fired at the U.S. Navy. Another tanker has been targeted by the IRGC. I don't know if it's been hit yet. One of them was hit. And there was one more thing here. Where is it? Okay. Yeah, so, oh yeah, Abu Musa. Let's go back to the map so I can show you guys what the significance of that is. All right, let's go into the Strait of Hormuz. These islands that you guys see here, why is it so, there we go. So Quiche Island was hit. Then these are also being hit. Looks like there's actually an airfield there. Again, these are preparations for a potential ground operation here, but also it seems like the number one priority in order, the priorities in order are stop the hits on the ships, which we can see that. Number two, degrade the air defense. So if they want to launch an extensive aerial campaign, they're able to. That's why they're hitting further along in the coast in inland Iran. And then the third would be to also hit these ports and such so that the ground invasion is possible. And then overall, the economic pressure is back with the blockade that Donald Trump announced. Looks like Truth Social is actually completely down as a website right now, but the blockade is fully back. Armin, what do you think about the blockade being back? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it's interesting that it hasn't had much of an impact on. I mean, it has some impact. Oh, we're above 80 now. Still, 80 is not that high. Do you think that we will finally see oil, like really high oil prices, if we go to military, full military operations? Because right now the main barrier to for the Americans to go to full scale military operations is low oil reserves, right? Like they don't have the cushion to go to full scale military operations the way that they did with Epic Fury. Like the Epic Fury didn't bring us $200 per barrel oil prices, and the main reason was all the countries had a lot of oil reserves to tap into, but we don't have that right now, and that is a major, that's the number one obstacle of United States to be able to freely go back to something resembling Epic Fury. But if the President Trump loses patience to the point where he's like, screw it, let's just go in, do you think we're going to see at some point, I mean, with the blockade and all of this stuff, maybe $200, something, anything close to $200 per barrel oil prices?
I'm leaning more towards no. They already know that their reserves are low. I think they're only going to plan for another week or two of just obliterating anyone they could possibly find in their sights within the IRGC, and then be like, that's it. Whoever rises from the ashes, maybe we'll negotiate with them. If the people of Iran take over, then they take over. So I'm not leaning towards the oil prices spiking up high and staying there. They might spike but come back down. Um, and of course, we know from the get-go that America would love to dip its fingers into the oil industry of Iran. So just like they did in Venezuela, they'll probably get some sort of deal regarding oil.
So I mean, yeah, but, do you think that that's why President Trump is saying, posting the Truth Social, because they're telling him that he really wants? I think President Trump really, really wants to go back right now to full scale, like blowing stuff up, right? But they're telling him we can't because we don't have enough oil reserves, right? That is one of the main obstacles, not the only one, but the main one. And he was like, let's just go and get their oil, get them, force them. They're like, oh, that's going to be so expensive to basically secure every ship. But like, okay, let's charge them 20% and just force all the ships through, right? So that we don't get the shock from President Trump. Is like, why can't we? Like, I think he's asking himself, why can't we just go back to military operations and then force all of these ships through? And they're like, oh, because they could shut down everything. We're like, okay, but what if we control Harg Island? They can't. But again, I think that's why they're talking about grand invasion. That's why they're talking about the 20%. That's why they're talking about the blockade going back on, but all the other ships will be able to go through. That's why they're talking about taking over Harg Island, because I think President Trump is and like really wants to find a way to be able to do all of this thing, but without getting too close to critical levels, low amount of oil reserves. That is a. But by the way, guys, I know a lot of you are frustrated why the Americans are not hitting back as much as you want them to, but you have to understand this. Like this is a major obstacle. Like it would be irresponsible if the Americans don't take this into account. Like it's not just missile interceptors, it's also oil reserve. Like that is, it's not like the United States could just ignore that, right? Like you guys, let me know what you think in the chat.
I think it's apparent that the US is hurting or starting to hurt economically, which is why we've heard more economic things like the 20% other that you're saying. Um, so Donald Trump lost a close friend. He got another tangible assassination plot on him last week where he had to switch Air Force Ones to the old one. Um, I don't think he's in a great mood. He's really frustrated that he just lost months. He's getting closer to the midterms. Um, I do think he's more leaning on the side of let's finish them off, but at the same time, I also think that he's going to use his frustration as a tactic to signal to people within the Islamic Republic that if worse comes to worse and there's someone other than Ghalibaf, assassinate him and bring him in. Maybe that guy will be ready to negotiate with us on the things that we want. Or if we have to trim down the membership of the IRGC, let's do it. But let's get things a little bit started again. And I think that's why the blockade's back on. That's why we're hitting the southern coast. We're preparing for something bigger. This is in preparation.
My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.